Welcome. I'm Michael Breed. It's Positive Town Hall, and we've got a special guest today, Dawson Armstrong, who is a member of the Corn Ferry Tour. He's actually out in Wichita, where there is another Corn Ferry Tour event happening. This is going to be a really fun hour that we're going to get a chance to know the insight of what we're calling the art of the dream. And you all have dreams that you're trying to fulfill, whatever they may be, family dreams, dreams that are professional dreams. Maybe you're dreaming of doing something like what Dawson is doing or improving your golf game. What we're going to be able to do is give you some insight from a guy who is living the dream and a guy who is having success in that pursuit of a PGA Tour card and then ultimately winning on the PGA Tour. A couple of things that I want to remind you of. Any questions that you've got, just dump them right into the comment section. We'll be looking at those through the course of the hour, and we'll get to some of your questions. I obviously have a pile of questions over here for Dawson, not just because I want to entertain you for an hour, but I'm going to learn a little bit. And that's one of the things that is so fun for me in being able to host this. I get to talk to individuals that are doing special things with their lives and learn a little bit about what I might be able to do to improve. I'm sure you're going to be able to gather some of that keen insight from Dawson as he's pursuing that dream of that PGA Tour card during a week of the U.S. Open. And Dawson, I'll get right to it. You got a lot of friends that are playing this game professionally. Some are out there at the U.S. Open. There's a lot of people that are watching today. Give us an idea of any conversations that you might have had with people that are out there at Torrey Pines, or what you know about the U.S. Open that's taking place out in California.
Yeah, so there were a lot of buddies of mine and a lot of Corn Ferry Tour players that actually made it to Torrey Pines this week. Some that are on the Corn Ferry Tour, some that have graduated from the Corn Ferry to the PGA Tour, and even some guys that don't have status anywhere have all qualified for the U.S. Open this week. And it's really interesting to see that it really is an open championship where anyone of any caliber has a chance to be able to prove themselves in a span of 54 holes over a span of 2 different days. All it takes is a few good rounds of golf, and then you're playing with some of the best players in the world. And, to see guys, especially on the Corn Ferry Tour, be able to make it out there, guys that I've played with on a very regular basis out here that have made it 4, 5, 6 times now, and Torrey Pines just being one of them, is it's a real testament to how good the players are nowadays and how versatile the players are able to be, knowing that you can go from 1 week all the way to your sectional site and then play the very next week in a completely different city.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. By the way, quick reminder, if you all have any questions for Dawson or for me, just put them in the chat. We also have Positive Town t-shirts that we'll be giving away to those of you that have engaged with us in the comments section. So please feel free to get in there with an opportunity to win some Positive Town reminders. And this is where we live. We live in Positive Town. So Dawson, let's get to this. As we talk about the art of the dream, this dream that you have of playing the PGA Tour, it's a dream that you've had for a while now. When did you first start thinking to yourself that this might be something that you wanted to do, playing professional golf for a living?
It was kind of a slow burn, honestly, for me. I as a kid and growing up, I played golf because I loved playing golf, and I loved playing golf because my dad, my brothers, and my best friends played it. And I was just kind of in a world, in a pocket of my own world where golf was just what I enjoyed doing, what I had fun doing. And then high school came around as I graduated, middle school, going into high school, and as you get a little bit better and a little bit better, you start seeing your what you enjoy doing kind of be what you're kind of excellent at. And to see that I kind of progressed at a faster rate than those around me kind of gave me the realization that this could be what I continued to do going into college. And then once I excelled in college, I was able to see that this is what I wanted to do as a professional. It's kind of been a step-by-step process where you want it to be true that you're able to take it to the next level and be able to outperform your peers at the level that you're at. And to kind of have that in the back of your mind, be able to, at the end of the day, be able to go, yeah, okay, I am ready to move to the next level. It's kind of been like I said, it's been a slow burn. It's been a real work in progress for the dream of mine to come true.
The dream of playing professional golf is a lonely one, and there are many lonely hours that you're by yourself, either in a car driving 17 hours to the next tour stop, or out on a range at 8:30 at night hitting golf balls, trying to figure out what's going on. Maybe you're in a hotel room working on your putting stroke, whatever it may be. But the lonely hours, I've always thought, were the challenging ones. What are the sort of hurdles that you've had to jump in this pursuit of the dream? Because everybody thinks of the dream, and they think particularly playing professional golf, what a luxury. And they immediately think of a Brooks Koepka or a Dustin Johnson, a Tiger Woods, a Phil Mickelson, who are making millions and millions of dollars. And that is true. That does exist. But for most people, you are not with an agent. You are limited with your sponsorships, and you are, particularly on the Korn Ferry Tour, you are not in the best hotels and in the best venues with thousands of people following you in a group. What are those lonely hours like? And what are the things that get into your mind that help you overcome the hurdles and the challenges that you have in this pursuit?
Yeah. So to kind of peel back those questions that you asked, it is kind of golf is a very, the pursuit of excellence is a lonely road, right? It really is. And in order to obtain the goals that you have, you've got to be able to be willing to be lonely. You've got to be willing to do things on your own, do things that no one else is willing to do. And you're right. That is very much it's a lonely path, but and again, not for the faint of heart, but you've got to, for those that are able to look past the struggles that are, you're by yourself, you're putting yourself through basically psychological warfare in your mind on a fairly daily basis. Like you said, the times where you're in a hotel by yourself, the times where you're out there practicing at 8:30, 9 p.m., just trying to figure out what's going on. The times when you're driving overnight to make sure that you get to the spot you need to. I haven't had as many of those experiences happen to me as probably the 33-year-old hometown heroes that are still giving pro golf a try. Mm-hmm. But I've definitely had my fair share of those. And they're not fun. They really aren't. But you've got to love the grind. You've got to love the pursuit of excellence. You've got to love the process of what you do, not just holding up the trophy on a Sunday afternoon, because there's a lot of my family and a lot of my friends say, Dawson, you can make almost $2 million in 4 days. That's the most false statement you can ever make. It's so much more than that. And 99% of your life is basically going from one week to another, basically putting yourself through the struggles and the challenges of chasing the dream. And once you get that chance to be able to stand on top and be the one that's victorious at the end of the week, everyone sees it as that's the life, that's the luxury. That little slice of time is the luxury of golf, and it is the luxury of being able to say that you're on top of the world at that moment. But all the time,
I think,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. And I think too, you have to enjoy the journey, right? I mean, look, your journey's taken you all over the place. And I'm sure that you are filled with gratitude of ability and gratitude of all the things that are going on and all the individuals that have helped you get to this point. But at the same time, it's a challenge. There's no question about it. So answer this for me here. When you go through those moments of lack of success, you maybe miss a cut or two or three in a row. Yeah. And now there's the challenge of, okay, and doubt creeps in, because I think doubt is one of the things that destroys anything, a golf shot, a relationship, whatever it may be. How do you overcome doubt?
Michael, that's an incredible question. That's, that's, again, I'll just keep on saying that's an incredible question until I come up with a good answer.
You know what? I'm telling you, Dawson, you and I are related because that's exactly what I would do too.
Yeah. How do you overcome doubt? What comes first, confidence or good play? What comes first, the chicken or the egg? You kind of got to just fake it so you make it.
Yep.
Is
there an individual that you might pick up a phone and you're going to call when you're in a moment where you're struggling? Do you pick up a phone and call your dad or your mom or your best friend, a brother or sister, somebody like that who always seems to have sort of a little word of motivation or inspiration that pushes you along?
Well,
and by the way, I'm available if you're looking for one of those guys.
Hey,
I'm always free.
I appreciate that. I'll make sure to give you a ring sooner or later. Hopefully I don't have that doubt creep in again, but
I agree.
But my parents have always been amazingly supportive, and anytime I need a little pick me up, they're there for me. And my wife has also always been there. She's kind of the she's the one that'll kick me in the rear end to get me back in gear a little bit. Anytime I need that little bit of motivation here and there, it's always a combination of those three people, really. And man, that's such a good question. How do you overcome doubt in golf? Shoot. When I figure it out, I'll make sure to come back on here and let you know.
That's awesome. By the way, quick reminder for everybody again, make sure you interact with us in the comment section. We're giving away some Positive Town t-shirts. So the only way you got a chance of getting a Positive Town t-shirt is making sure that you send a question into the chat. We've got a couple of those. I'll go to, I think it's, and if I pronounce your name wrong, I apologize. I want to say it's Mei-Ling Chen. How do you figure out what you like? How do you figure out what it is that you like or love about the game? Does it just come to you, or is it something that in reflection time you go, you know what? I love being able to curve a ball, or I love to putt, whatever it may be.
Wow, that's a great question. I feel like everyone has something that makes them tick, and you kind of have to understand yourself before you really answer that question. For me, I feel like I'm a pretty personable guy. I'm pretty outgoing. I feel like I'm pretty creative when it comes to experiences or, just creative thinking. So for me, what I like to do is never have two of the same golf shots. I always try to make sure that I'm doing something a little bit different on every golf shot, which can also be a downfall of my game. But that's what I love doing. Kind of a slightly less extreme version of Bubba Watson. I'm not out there slicing the ball 40 yards, but I like hitting low shots, high shots, be able to flop some that I can, try to anything that kind of creates a little bit of creativity. That's kind of what keeps me going and kind of what keeps me engaged on a shot by shot basis.
All right, let me ask you another question here, and I'll tell the story as I ask this question. When I was younger, your age, I was sort of in a situation where I didn't have the skill set that you have as a player, but I was pretty good. I mean, I was sort of it was the Ben Hogan Tour. I clearly wasn't going to play the PGA Tour after playing rounds of golf with people that did play the PGA Tour, Tom Lehman, John Daly, players like that. And there was a moment when I was down in Florida where I'd kind of gotten beaten up a couple of different times, and I thought, you know what, this is just not for me. And I thought, I got to do something else. I'm going to quit golf and I'm going to go into selling something. Everybody tells me I could be a good salesman, so I'm going to go into selling. And then I went and sat in a room and realized that I don't have a passion for selling something that isn't going to change my life. My passion is I want to play the game. I want to teach the game. I want to help people play. And I learned in that moment of quitting that I didn't want to quit, that I actually wanted to continue to go forth and not only just go forward, but to excel. I didn't want to be average. I wanted to be above average. I'm sure that there was a moment, or has been a moment in your life, as short as your career in golf has been, you've lived more of these experiences than most, where you just thought to yourself, you know what? I didn't get into the college that I thought I was going to get into and play golf at, or I didn't get recruited by who I was going to, I was hoping to get recruited at, or I played in a tournament and I wasn't good enough. And you know what? I'm done with this. You come off of a round where you just shot, 82. I'm not good enough to compete. You've been through the moments of quitting. Walk us through a moment where you literally thought about quitting, and then what was it that kept you going?
Wow, this was actually, to be completely candid, there was a Corn Ferry event up at the Glen Club in Chicago, Illinois, just about 3 weeks ago now, where with about 11 holes to go on Friday, I was in about 12th place, and I missed the cut by one. That was my 5th missed cut of the year, and 4 of the 5 had been by one. And I was very, very disappointed. I knew that the physical aspect of my game was there, but I knew I wasn't mentally strong enough. And that was where I got in the car. I was so hacked off. I was just ready. I was just ready to just drive home and not touch the clubs until I felt like it. And my wife was with me. She went into the house that we were staying at, and I decided to just sit in the car for a few minutes and kind of just recharge a little bit. And I kind of had this little epiphany that, it's not golf that I want to quit. I just want to quit being such a baby on the golf course mentally. And a lot of it has been when I reach those points where I want to quit, or where I want to kind of relax a little bit, whether it be on a good side or the bad side of golf, whether it be I play really well or very poorly, you can kind of relax a little bit, or you can just want to throw the clubs away, never look at them again. That's the mental side of golf that is so hard to perfect. And that's something that I knew 3 weeks ago that I had to change in order to excel at what I want to do. And once that happened, I feel like my mindset of what my golf career needs to look like changed.
So that's fabulous. It's a great jumping off point to the point of change. Change is important. And a lot of people fear change. A lot of people say, I want change, but when change comes to them, they don't want it. You sit there and you admittedly go, okay, I've got to change this.
Yeah.
As you pursue change, what are some of the things that you have done in these last 3 weeks that have helped you change that mindset and now open up a different landscape for you, where when you get into those moments and you are in 12th place, instead of looking at this in a certain way, you look at it in another way, and it has changed the direction that you go down?
Yeah. Well, to preface this, everything's a work in progress, right? And it's definitely not a 3-week course. It's it's going to be a very long process, and I hope to only get better at it. But as of lately, I've actually I've tried to write down almost every day. Do something that sucks that day. Do something that you just don't want to do. Do something that changes up what your daily routine is, and do something that's extreme in your day-to-day actions. Whether it be, for me, do something like sit there, make 100 3-footers, no matter how long it takes. Go run a certain amount of miles for every bogey you make during the round, or go take a 5-minute ice cold shower. Things that your mind just isn't used to on a day-to-day basis, right? And it can be anything for anyone. It can be different for anybody, but just something that puts your mind through a little bit of struggle throughout the day, to where you can go to the other side and say, okay, I know I can accomplish this now. What next? it's kind of like I said, it's a long process, but I hope to only get better at that.
Let's talk about, you mentioned your wife and you're driving back and you pull into wherever it is, the hotel or whatever it may be. And you say to her, hey, sweetheart, I need to just sit in the car here for a little bit. And she goes in and she understands you and the challenge that you have on a day-to-day basis and the effort of pursuing this dream of the PGA Tour. How important is the team that's around you, and how do you know that somebody is going to be a good fit on your team or not a good fit on your team? And then to that end, as sort of the CEO of your team, what is it that you do to make sure that the team is a cohesive one?
Yeah, it's, as the CEO, me being someone that is very fluid with my schedule, just because of my personality, my team needs to be people that keep me on a very strict schedule. Because if I don't have a schedule, I'm just all willy-nilly wherever I want to be, and that's something that has taken me a while to realize. But I need to have more structure, and the team around me needs to be a team that gives me the opportunity to have structure. And having my team being, my wife is number one always. My parents, who are always there to support me, always there to follow me, always there to just love me no matter what. My agent, who is able to give me help when I need it. Swing coach, fitness trainer, caddy. All these different pieces of the puzzle come together to create what is my golf game. And having them all come together and really see all the work that they put in through me, and to see the work that I put in come to fruition a few times a year is really fulfilling. And they keep me grounded. They keep my spirits high when they're low, and I wouldn't be where I am without them.
So let's continue on this path of the team. And one of those individuals that is in the ropes with you is your caddy. This is an important decision as to who's going to help you navigate this very arduous pathway to the dream of the PGA Tour. But it also there are decisions that are made every single moment as you're playing a round of golf, as you're practicing and preparing for an event in a practice round, whatever it may be. Let's talk about decision making for a second, because I think this is one of the more important topics that really individuals that are involved in this don't necessarily they don't understand the importance of the decision and then the follow through of the decision. So let's talk a little bit about this relationship that you have with your caddy. First of all, when you guys are in the arena and you have a shot into a par four, let's say, you're going to go about getting a yardage. You're going to discuss the circumstance, the situation, the lie, the wind, the uphill, the whole location, so on and so forth. Is this something that when are you asking for information from your caddy? Is he telling you the information? You're open-minded to it. Do you need to look at the yardage book as well? Is this a team thing, or is this an individual thing and you're allowing him to kind of steer the ship and he goes, hit your 7-iron at that tree, and then you just go and hit it?
Yeah. So my caddy, Dave, and I, we very much work together in that sense. I almost always try to get a number myself. And, we do a very good job of coming together to really feel confident with the number that we have. And really, really hitting a golf shot is taking all the information in, understanding what it means, and then giving the best shot you possibly can to the most comfortable shot you can to a certain spot. Right. And for us, I take almost everything my caddy Dave says as a huge factor of what I do for my shot. I almost always take what he says and apply it. If I like a certain shot, he likes a different shot, I'll always talk with him about it instead of simply say, I like this, trust me on this. He Actually, last week he almost took my driver and broke it. Sarcastically speaking, but I wanted to hit a driver. I told him, trust me on this. He said, no, you're not hitting driver. I don't care. I hit a hybrid off the tee, hit a 7-iron to about 10 feet, and made a birdie. I looked at him immediately after and said, I hate you for that, but thank you. And, that's just the relationship we have right now. I'm able to trust him in his decision making, and he's able to trust me and my sometimes my blind confidence, but my confidence in my ability to hit a shot.
You bring up a great word there. Before we get to the continuation of this, quick reminder for everybody. We want to hear from you, any comments that you might have, and many of you are doing a really wonderful job getting in there. I'm going to get to some of these questions momentarily, but we're giving away some Positive Town t-shirts. Make sure that you get into the chat, ask a question of Dawson. We're not giving away any t-shirts to anybody that's not in the chat. So if you get in there, ask a question. That will basically put you in a position to get yourself a nice, beautiful Positive Town t-shirt and be reminded of how to control your mind. Now, let's get back to this thing, Dawson, you brought up about trust, because it's an important part of any great relationship. And it's an important part of any great golf shot. I don't know that there's ever been a golf shot that's hit that doesn't have trust behind it. Trust is built in a couple of different ways. First of all, how do you develop trust in yourself on the golf course? Are you one of those persons that believes that, you know what, I have to hit a lot of golf balls in order to have faith in my golf swing? You talk about the chicken or the egg thing. Or are you one of those people that believes, hey, you know what, if I have a golf club in my hand, I believe I can hit it at the flag, whether I've practiced in a month or I haven't. I believe I can go out there and I can hit it where I want to.
When I'm playing my best golf, it doesn't matter what shot I have in front of me. I always feel like I can pull it off. It's very much a naive thought process, but it's mine when I play well. Most of the time it is a lot of trial and error, right? You work on a shot, you don't do it right, you tinker a little bit here or there, and then you hit it again. Nope, didn't work. Try it again. And then when you feel like you hit it down, then you take it to the course and you feel confident with what sensations or what feelings you have in your swing, and then you try to execute that on a certain golf shot. That's what creates that trust when you're playing the average golf. When you're playing great golf and you're mentally at peace with what you're doing, that's when you're able to just look at a shot, say, I got this, hit it right where you want to. That's, for me, when I'm able to really have the most trust. Whether it be, like I said, blind trust, that's when I'm able to just step up and trust what I have.
And do you have I don't want to say a mantra, but do you have a moment during a round of golf where you sort of don't trust? Maybe it's, okay, make sure you don't hit this left, or there's out of bounds on the right-hand side and you got to avoid that. Is there a moment when you're out there playing where you have to sort of overcome that negative thought? And if there is, how do you overcome the negative thought and put that trust back into your mind and back into your motion?
There are very few shots where you have to, there have been a few shots for me where I have to, even though I'm not comfortable with it at all, I have to step up and still hit the shot. The last thought I tell myself before I hit the shot is, it's time to man up and hit a good shot. It doesn't matter what's around you. Go up there and hit a good shot, no matter what. And that's kind of, whether you trust it or not, you have to do something. And that's what I tell myself sometimes on a tee shot, like you said, where there's OB right, or on a wedge shot where you have to make sure you land at a certain number. It's just, or an 8-foot putt to save a par on an important par 5 or a hard par 4, something like that, where there's just times where, even though you're not comfortable, even though you might not have that sense of trust in your game, you're not feeling the best, you just got to step up and hit the shot. And that's a very hard thing to do.
And particularly when you're paying for your livelihood with a golf swing. There are many people that are stepping up playing golf for a $20 Nassau or something like that, and it's hard for them to trust. Now, I always believe that commitment is one of the things that goes hand in hand with trust. I kind of feel like in my mind when I visualize commitment and trust walking together, they're always holding hands in the direction that they go. I think you have to have commitment in order to have trust, and you have to have trust in order to have commitment. So I want to talk to you a little bit about commitment, because I know that in any great team, there is a commitment to one another. And in any great golf program, whatever that program is, there's a commitment to something. When you think about the commitment that you make in the game, what are some of the commitments that you make that have allowed you to ascend to this level in your game, and certainly what is going to help you with your commitment and maybe improving your commitment to get you to the PGA Tour?
You know, the commitment to this game is really, it's the time that you put into it, right? That's kind of the for most golfers. There are some athletes that don't really practice golf as much as others, but for me, the commitment that I have to make sure that I stick to is the amount of time that I put into it, and the amount of work, no matter the time, that you put into your craft, and be able to excel at what you do. That's kind of where I'm at now, and it's also the commitment to always learn. I, as a high schooler and as a college golfer, I was very set in my ways. I felt like if I did what I wanted to do well, then I could be very good at where I was. But now, as I get onto this level, I need to learn more. I need to be able to accept other philosophies more. And that's what I've got to be more committed to now. And the idea, like you're saying, the idea of commitment does change. For me, it was, if I work harder than anyone, I'll get to where I want to go. Now it's if I learn more and I work smarter, then I'm able to get where I want to go next. And that's kind of been the next stage of commitment for me.
All right, let's talk about something that everybody deals with, and that is fear. And the biggest fear that most people have is the fear of public speaking. I know that this was something that in my career, when I was heading down the path in the media space, that it was something that I had to overcome. And it was, a little conversation that I would have with myself, which was, hey, this is your destiny. And the path to where you're going is not an easy one. It's full of hurdles, and it's full of all kinds of different things that you've got to overcome. And so, that's why you've got ladders, and that's why you've got shovels to be able to go over or under things. And I do know that fear is an inhibitor. Fear also, too, by the way, on the golf course is something that can really destroy trust. It can destroy commitment. It can destroy success. And it can ultimately lead to quitting. I think there are people that are in their jobs that have certain fears. Maybe that, an individual that's above them just took a new job, and this job became available, and their boss came up and said, hey, I think you're perfect for the job. They don't feel prepared. And the fear of letting people down, or the fear of not being able to execute, not being a great leader maybe, is something that is preventing them from realizing their dream. Talk to me about fear. Have you had fear on a golf course? Have you had fear in your moments where you have made this decision, hey, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm passionate about? And if so, how have you overcome those fears?
There are, as you were asking that question, in my mind, there are two types of fears, right? There's an in the moment fear, and there's an overarching fear. And an overarching fear for me is kind of the idea that while I'm on the road trying to fulfill my dream, trying to live out this life that is being a professional golfer, one of the fears of mine is losing what I have at home. And that's always something that, For me being a homebody, I love being around close friends and family. That's just something that I thrive on. And a fear of mine is definitely losing some of that down the road. How you overcome that, and part of it is technology has been so helpful with that, being able to keep up with people on a day-to-day basis. Fear's a liar, right? It's only there to convince you that what you have right now isn't enough. And, trusting that your friends or family are going to be there in the long run is kind of the answer to that fear. And now to go to the other side of the coin, where it's fear in a moment, right? Where you're over a golf shot and you see water all the way down the left, and all you're thinking is, oh boy, let's not hit in that water on the left. And that's kind of getting out of the present. Everyone always says you need to stay in the present in order to perform at a high level. If you think about what happens when you hit it in the water, or when you miss a putt in front of a big crowd, or anything, right? When your first tee shot is bad in front of hundreds of people in the gallery, you're starting to think past what that shot is, and you're not actually focusing in and trusting what you've worked on for hours and hours and months and years of your life to prepare for that shot. And that's fear's always going to be there for anyone. If you say you don't have fear on the golf course, you're an absolute liar. You always do. It's just, you have to find a way to overcome that, and that's by trusting what you've done on a daily basis in the dark, where no one's there watching, to where they do watch and you're able to perform at a high level.
Is embarrassment a fear for you?
Always has been. It's not really as much embarrassment on, I think everyone's got a little bit of fear of being embarrassed, but the idea of being embarrassed in front of people that you know, and kind of showing that little bit of vulnerability, where when you have friends or family coming out to see you perform at something that you should be kind of almost an expert at, and to see you perform less than stellar or even pretty poorly is an embarrassment. And that's it's always been a fear of mine. But embarrassment is really, it's a lens that it depends on the lens that what you look through. You can hit a bad putt, you can miss a putt. If you're by yourself, it's fine. You can still be mad at yourself for missing a putt. But if there are 100 people watching, there's a little bit more pressure there, right? But the goal in golf is to always always to try to make every shot the same importance. And that's always been a struggle of mine. And that's something that I'm definitely working on now, to where that fear of embarrassment doesn't overcome, the process that I've put in and the work that I've put in to get better.
Let's talk a little bit about, before we get to some of these questions, let's talk about another thing that I think is important. Certainly in my career, it's been important. I'm sure it's important in your career, and that is failure, the importance of failure, how you view failure, and how you use failure as a motivator. I know in my life, when I don't necessarily look at failure through the eyes of something that is going to prevent me from getting where I want to get to. It's actually the thing that propels me to where I want to get to. I use failure as sort of a pole vault, where it kind of helps me jump and clear the hurdle that may be preventing me from getting where I want to get to. Yeah. They say that failure is one of those things that kind of runs again hand in hand with fear. How do you deal with failure? And what are the things that are in your mind about how you use it to propel you to success?
They always say you don't learn from success, you learn from failure. And when you're in the moment, failure sucks. The idea of losing sucks. you're so close to your goal. You feel like you've put all this work in, and to walk away knowing that that's not, you didn't obtain it. You didn't achieve it. You look at that moment and you almost dream about it. You dream of what could have been. You dream of if this could have happened. The failure of it is, it's haunting. It really is. And, those that succeed and really excel at what they do, use what haunt them, and use what their fears are to drive them and to be able to make them really the best version of themselves that they can be. And, I'll speak from experience here. The most I've had, being a pretty good golfer now, I've had my fair share of failures, losing in playoffs, whether it be winning a few playoffs here and there, but you never remember the wins as much as you do the losses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those are the things that will always drive you to get better. And the more that you hold those on, it's kind of bulletin board material. You're able to look at those every day and go, I'm never letting that happen again. Never letting it happen again. Never letting it happen again. You work and you work and you get to that point to where you're back in that situation. You're ready this time.
You make a great point there, and you think about a Rory McIlroy at Augusta National, and then the next major championship, the U.S. Open, he goes out and he wins by 7. You think about recently what happened with Chesson Hadley and also with Lexi Thompson, two individuals that really had great leads and an opportunity to pick up wins on the LPGA Tour and the PGA Tour. It didn't go the way they want, and it obviously hurts a lot, and it disrupts a night's sleep. But it's also the thing that's going to allow them to feel like they're deserved of their next opportunity, which there no doubt will be. Let me go back to a couple of questions that are in the chat. This one is from an unknown. It said, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? If you were going to rewind the videotape back to when you were 18, what would you say to your 18-year-old self?
Cool. The 18-year-old me. Man, don't drive as fast on the roads. No. No. Man.
Was there a hard lesson that you've learned over the last little bit that kind of kept you down for a second? Would you say, hey, you know what, when you're 24, you're going to deal with this moment. Don't worry about this, or something like that?
It's that hard times will come, but as long as you love what you're doing, it'll all be worth it. Learn what you love to do and focus only on that. And it can be a few different things. For me, it was golf. And for me, it was also finding my girlfriend and now my wife, and, being around friends and family. Find out what makes you tick and focus on that. Learn to be amazing at what you can do best.
All right, let's talk now about this quest of the PGA Tour. And again, a quick reminder for those of you that would like to ask Dawson a question, or even myself, just ask it in the chat. That will also enter you into an opportunity to win a Positive Town t-shirt, which I'm telling you, I've got a number of these things, and they are really, really comfy. In fact, you know what, Dawson? I'm going to make sure that I get one of those T-shirts or a mug over to you. It doesn't seem like you need to be reminded of how fortunate that you are. But let's talk about this pursuit now of the PGA Tour. When you start to look at the skill set that's required, and you've had a chance to play a lot of golf with Cam Young's a guy who's playing in the U.S. Open, and he's been out there on the Korn Ferry Tour. Will Zalatoris is another guy who last year took advantage of an invitation because of COVID to get into the U.S. Open. He played great, and now look at what has happened with him. You look at the skill set of these players that you've played a lot of golf with, and now where you are in your effort to get your PGA Tour card, which with a nice finish here on these remaining tournaments on the Korn Ferry Tour, you're right there. Yeah. What is it that you have to improve upon in order for you to get to where you want to ultimately get to, which is not just the PGA Tour, but actually winning on the PGA Tour and retaining your card for 20 plus years on the PGA Tour.
Yeah, so you're exactly right. Golf is hopefully a 30-year career. It's not a 5-10-year career like most sports where, for golf, it's a 30-year career. And, for me, I need to be very golf specific. I need to hit more fairways with driver. I need to take advantage of par fives better. I need to be more comfortable with a few chip shots and pitch shots here and there, and be able to hit my wedges a little bit closer, which sounds like all of the golf game, but it's just, it's really just a few things here and there. And then once you get in those moments, be ready. That's, I feel like if I do those things well, then I'm ready to be in contention and to be ready to kind of forge my way to the PGA Tour.
Do you feel like you lack belief in yourself? It certainly doesn't seem like that, but at the same time, stepping inside the ropes is a little bit different than stepping inside the car, right? I mean, it's easy to kind of puff it up and go, okay, I'm ready for this fight. And then when you get into the arena on a Sunday afternoon and it's late and you're leading by one or trailing by one, how's the mind? How's the confidence? How's the belief in yourself? Share with me, where you are with that, and can you improve that part of your game?
I've never really had much of an issue when I'm in the moment in a big time situation to kind of stay there. I've, I always feel like if I am in the final group, if I am near the final group, I'm able to kind of, that confidence is there, right? You've done enough to get there. The times where you're not hitting at your best and you've got to make a cut, or the times where you're in 35th place and you need to make 3 birdies on the back 9 to finish in the top 20. Those are the times where you've got to hunker down and believe in yourself. And those are the ones where, like, everyone looks at the guy that wins. Look at the guys that move up 25 spots to finish in the top 20. Those are the ones that really grinded their way to a good week. The ones that are in the top 5, top 10, they're the best players in the world playing their best golf that week. They're clicking on all cylinders, right? They're ready to go. When I'm in those positions as well, I feel like I'm ready to go. It's the times where you're in 20th and you got to just plug along and find your way up to the top. That's when golf is really fun.
Let's talk about, as we sort of near the close of this, let's talk about the dream itself. I remember when I was pursuing being a head golf professional, and I got to that point where I got my first head professional job, and I was busy working for, trying to organize this team and put this all together. And it was chaos for about 3 months. And then all of a sudden things started to click. And I literally remember having this thought in my mind where I thought, this is it. This is the dream that I've had of being this head golf professional for 8 or 10 years. Now all of a sudden I'm here, and this is what this is all about. And then I remember sort of after that thinking to myself, okay, now it's, what do I want? I've got to reevaluate the dream, and what does the dream become? And I kind of feel like this thing of the art of the dream is sort of the art of continuing to dream the dream. Yeah. And my question to you is that you have this art of, or this dream of playing professional golf. And then all of a sudden it's, well, now I've won on the Mackenzie Tour. I've graduated. I'm now on the Korn Ferry Tour. I got to reevaluate that dream. And then I got to reevaluate again and again and again. And all of a sudden the art of the dream really becomes the art of continuing to dream. Yeah. So as you continue to dream, paint the picture for us of what you think this dream continues to look like.
Wow. That's a great question. A dream for 18-year-old me is way different than the dream of 20-year-old me and 25-year-old me now. 18-year-old me, it was simply, I'm going to win a major. I'm going to win the Masters. I'm going to do it. Right. And 20-year-old me, same thing. I'm going to get on the PGA Tour, get there. I'm going to be the best player in the world. and 25-year-old me, it kind of, life comes at you pretty fast, doesn't it? Your dreams can be easily trampled, and I've always heard the statement, if you've already achieved your dreams, you're not dreaming big enough, right? It's, for me, the dream does change, and I feel like everyone's lives do change, and mine is kind of evolved a little bit to now be on the PGA Tour, get to be the best player in the world, and really be really, it's changed to be the best golfer I can be, and see where that takes me, because it used to be so results oriented, and now I see it, and it's a lot more process oriented, where now I'm able to look at a year by year picture of myself and look back and go, I know I got better. To where, while the dream of 18-year-old me was to win a major, win the Masters, and 25-year-old me is to continue to get better, I'm very confident that if I continue on this path, then the dreams that I had when I was a kid and when I was in college will be realized, simply because I'm going through the process that I know I need to go through.
So I got to tell you this story, because this is an interesting story. I had a gentleman on the PGA Tour named Bronson Burgoon, who called me up one day, and he said, Michael, I'd love to get your thoughts on my golf swing. Can I send it to you? And I said, sure. And he sent it to me. I told him a couple things, and it just so happened that I was going down to the Players in this given year. And he said, okay, I'd love to have you look at me, hit some balls, and talk a little bit. Can we arrange something at the Players? So I went down there, and I went on to the practice tee with him, and we started talking about some different things. And I asked him a question. I said, what are your dreams? And he went through his thing of what he dreamed. And then I asked him, what are your goals? And he said, well, what's the difference? And I said, well, dreams are to me, they're things that you kind of would like to aspire to. This would be great if I could achieve this. This would be great if I could achieve that. But your goals are the things that you kind of write down. And you're going to go, okay, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And so he said, my goal is to be the number one player in the world. And I said, is that your dream as well? And he said, yes. And I said, okay, so we have a dream that's a goal, and that is to be number one in the world. We got two things going on here. Now, let me ask you a question. You just had a baby. Do you want to be a good father or a bad father? He said, I want to be the best father. I said, okay, is that a dream or a goal? He says, that's going to happen. I said, okay. And in order for you to be the best father that you're going to be, do you think that you have the time to allocate to the dream and the goal of being the number one player in the world? Because you'd have to get up at 5 o'clock. You're going to have to eat properly. You got to be lifting weights and working out at 5:30. Then at 7, you got to be on that tee, and you got to be hitting balls, and I went through this whole list. And when he was looking at me as I'm going through this whole thing, I said, now, do you think you can be the number one player in the world? Are you willing to sacrifice the dream, the goal, the desire, the effort of being the best father you can be? And by the way, are you going to have another kid? And he said, whoa, Michael, I need to do this differently. And he said exactly what you said, which was, I think I just want to be the very best golfer that I can be. And all of a sudden I said, okay, now the goal is to be the best golfer that you can be. What are the steps that you need to take in order for you to be able to do that, managing the things that you want in your life? So I'll ask you the same exact question. As you manage the things that are in your life, how do you fit the goal of the process and the goal of you're married? My assumption is you want to be a father. Do you want to be a father of 1, 2, 3, 4, 15? Like, what are the goals that you have that you and your wife have talked about? And then how do you marry all those together? And by the way, you only have a little over 3 minutes.
Oh, good. Okay. Wow. That's actually, while you were asking me a little bit ago how my dreams have changed, I was very close to saying a dream of mine now is to truly be the best father and the best husband I can be. And to be able to give my wife and my soon to be, whenever they are to be children, the most comfortable, challenging, loved lives they can possibly live. And that's a dream of mine. And like you're saying, how do you marry all of that? Man, it's golf. I've said this before, and I don't want this to come across like the Trevor Lawrence where he said he could quit football and be fine, because he got a lot of ridicule for it. But I really do feel like if someone told me I had to quit tomorrow, I'd be okay with it. Because I know every day I've gone into it giving it my best. And I know that every day I'm going to go throughout my process knowing that what I'm doing is going to give me the possibility of being the best husband I can be, being the best son I can be, being the best friend I can be those days, being the best golfer I can be. Just all of these things, I feel like I try my best. I don't succeed at it every day, but I try my best to be able to marry all of those things together to really show that, golf, as much fun as golf is and as successful as you can be in it, there's a lot more to life than that. And for me, I hope that I'm able to realize that in my day-to-day life soon. And I hope more and more golfers are able to realize that too.
Well, Dawson, I can safely say this. I know that you have gained a number of fans in this hour that we've been together, this short hour that we've been together. We all wish you nothing but the best. We appreciate your insight as we all pursue our dreams and the art of chasing that dream. We know that you will achieve that dream of playing the PGA Tour, winning on the PGA Tour, and more importantly, being the best father and husband that you can possibly be. And so for all of us that aren't able to say this, thank you so much for your time today. Enjoy Wichita. And for those of you that don't know this, by the way, there was a little brawl that took place out at Wichita. What I was going to say to Dawson is avoid the fisticuffs out there, my friend. Not that you were in them. But something's in the air out there, huh?
If I get in a little bit of a tiff with my caddy, I'll make sure I pull out the gloves.
Well, we look forward to watching you as we follow the Korn Ferry Tour and appreciate you and also Vaco and Morgan Franklin for putting this together. Thank you so much for being a part of this. And a quick reminder to everybody here, we appreciate your involvement in this and this series that we have going on with this Positive Town. These Positive Town Halls is really fun for me to be a part of, and solely because we get the opportunity to talk to individuals like Dawson and give you an idea of what this is all about as we all try to better ourselves, improve our situations, and become what we hope to become in our lives. I thank you so much for watching, and reminder, make sure you look out for all of our notifications. We'll be having another one coming up in this next month, so make sure you join us again. And thanks to Vaco and Morgan Franklin for their hard work in putting this all together. All the best to all of you. And once again, Dawson, thank you so much for all your time today and continued good fortune.
Thanks, Michael. I really appreciate it. You too.
Thank you all.
I'm Dawson Armstrong, pro golfer and proud brand ambassador for Vaco. My partnership with Vaco started well before I stepped foot onto the PGA Tour. And just like every relationship, Vaco saw the potential of collaborating together and wanted to be a part of my story. Vaco will be there all along your journey, and that's what they mean when they say, with you all the way.